The Tommy Campbell Show. Donald Trump managed to grow a brand new head of hair overnight, and the internet cannot stop laughing. And I know what you're thinking, Tommy, why are you weighing in on this? And I get it, but honestly, Donald Trump has the exact kind of hair that makes me feel fine with being bald. It's that bad. This guy has the kind of hair transplant you'd find a drunk tourist getting like at a market stall in Thailand. I mean, look at this thing. His latest crop of follicles appeared quicker than his ear scar disappeared. It is getting mocked worldwide. The memes are savage, and I had to share some and join in with a few of my own. The fitting for the bleached ferret pelt. Got to get the angle right. Did he get this from Bobby Brainworms? I wonder if he gave him the dead raccoon dick as well. Where'd that go? Oh, that one's perfect. And you know these are winding him up. Trump in his karaoke hair metal phase. It's like he walked into Supercuts and asked for a divorced lion. The Trump cabinet with matching hair, honestly. Right? They all wear the ill-fitting Florsheim shoes, you know, the one that Marco Rubio stumbles around in. So them standing with Trump with his bad hair, definitely not a stretch. I would not rule this out from happening. Now, many are comparing his new hair to his mother's. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Such great genes in that family. Okay, the cat on the head cracks me up, and I'm glad this is AI because I love cats, and I would feel bad for one that had to get this close to him. This is the guy that said, they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. Okay, now there's a cat on his head. This was the last time he changed his hair for a day. Do you remember that? When he just slicked it back? I don't know if he was off his meds or he took double. But yeah, that one didn't last long. Now, I love all these blonde ones. It's like he went to the salon and asked for the Marjorie Taylor Greene. It was so ridiculous. Okay, this was him 3 months ago. That's what's really going on there, right? Honestly, if I grew things out, I could pull this off. Don't want to, but I could. Here's Trump with what I call the Mark Davis, make me look like the owner of the Raiders. Now, in fairness, this could also be Kevin Sorbo. The Kevin Sorbo cut, equally ridiculous. I made those. I had fun trying to get the bangs. Just the perfect amount of simple Jack ridiculous. Now, I don't know who made this, but I love it. Right? This is your hero, MAGA. As exaggerated as this all is, it really is spot on. This is the man you worship. This is his routine. Subscribe. Now, as funny as all this is, you have to ask yourself, is this fresh hair plugs, a structural wig failure, or just another distraction? Because whenever the headlines get too hot in Washington, Donald doesn't change his policy, he changes his aerodynamics. There are a lot of things he doesn't want you to talk about, and that's why we're talking about them today. Take the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool. It wasn't long ago that Donald Trump was on every camera screaming about left-wing vandals with box cutters, sabotaging his $14 million rushed pool renovation with truck liner. He paraded around calling these supposed midnight saboteurs animals and demanding 10-year prison sentences. I think that's his go-to. Just 10 years. You got to have a 10-year sentence for this person. They even arrested a 67-year-old former Olympic canoeist who was just out for a bike ride, touched a peeling piece of rubber, and got dragged away by National Guard troops. This administration put his name on blast, framed him as a domestic terrorist destroying America's heritage, and then crickets. Because just a few days ago, the Department of Justice quietly slipped a 20-page filing into court dropping all the criminal charges. And why? Because prosecutors had to literally admit under oath there were no vandals. There were no box cutters. The damage was entirely caused by a botched, rushed installation job by contractors scrambling to meet Trump's ridiculous July 4th deadline. They rushed the job so bad the epoxy peeled off in chunks, and when the whole thing turned into a lime green algae soup, Trump's first instinct was to invent some secret liberal SEAL Team 6 going on a Home Depot run to mess it up and ruin an entire Olympian's life to cover his own ass. No press conference, no apology. The DOJ just quietly hit delete on the lawsuit and hoped nobody would notice. Trump gets to scream lies on cable news for weeks, but when the receipts show it was just his own cheap rush construction work, the story magically vanishes from the cycle. Here's what his ferret pelt head had to say this week about Canada.
The tariffs have made us rich. Remember, I used to say that tariffs are my favorite word. I love tariffs. They're my favorite word in the dictionary, tariff. I love tariffs, right? Because we've been screwed by tariffs used against us for years by China, by Japan, by South Korea, by Germany, by everybody, by Canada. Canada's nasty. They are. They're nasty. People think Canada, they're nasty. People, I love the people, but they're nasty. Nasty leadership. And Mexico, they all did it to us. But now that doesn't work anymore because we turned the table on everybody, and that's why you're seeing numbers like you've never seen before this week.
Donald Trump uses the word nasty like a toddler who just discovered an insult on the playground. Nasty leadership, nasty people, nasty tariffs. It's his go-to reaction whenever anyone presents him with basic facts, math, or doesn't immediately roll over female reporters, Taylor Swift, politicians, and now a country of over 41 million people who just want to be friends and work together as they have for hundreds of years. And the sheer nerve of him complaining about Canadian tariffs. This is the guy who started a fight, dropped the gloves on a player on his own team, and then squealed to the ref when someone checked him. You can't start a trade war, slap arbitrary tariffs on your closest allies, and then act offended when they hit back. And the ultimate irony, he delivered this entire whiny rant in Las Vegas, a city currently suffering through a massive Trump slump in international tourism. So Trump is standing in the middle of a casino floor complaining that Canadians are nasty, while local Vegas resort workers are having their hours cut because their biggest international tourist market is avoiding the US. But hey, no tax on tips, right? Canada and the United States are supposed to be best friends. It's supposed to be a symbiotic relationship, but that's not how Trump works. He just destroys every single relationship in his life, from his marriages to his shuttered businesses, bankrupt casinos, and discarded allies. The man fundamentally does not know how to be a partner. He only knows how to burn bridges and blame the other side for the smoke. He thinks calling Canada nasty makes him come across tough, but it just makes him come across like a loser.
Whatever adjective is used, yes, we're standing up for Canadian workers, for Canadian businesses, as we always have from the start. And from the start, our focus has been on what we can control, and that's investing in protecting our jobs, investing in the future. We're creating jobs at twice the rate of the United States. We have foreign direct investment twice the rate of our nearest G7 competitor, which is the United States. We are seeing growth pick up in this quarter. And most fundamentally, what we're seeing is business investment beginning to pick up, and that's because we've kept focused on what we can control, and we have what the world wants, which includes the greatest workers in the world.
Okay, first off, I love that he's talking about the great workers, and they're literally checking their watches and just waiting to get back to it, waiting for him to finish there. So that's it's sort of funny. I mean, the one guy's texting that whole time, so I don't know what's going on there, but maybe it's a look, ma, I'm on TV moment. Just look at the difference in energy overall. Carney just stands there with the deadpan composure of an adult who's used to dealing with angry kids. He literally laughs it off and says, use whatever language you want, but we're standing up for ourselves, and it's going well, better than you actually. And that is what's driving Donald Trump crazy. He's furious because Mark Carney won't bow down to his trade threats, and Canada's economy is quietly dunking on America's right now, and Carney is getting his jabs whenever possible.
Inform you that the teleprompter has ceased to function. Unlike a certain world leader, I do not view this as a conspiracy.
He's a funny guy. And this is a better way to wind someone up than just saying, you suck, or tweeting in all caps. Now here's Bloomberg's editor-in-chief, Matt Winkler, and what he had to say about the economy under nasty Mark Carney. And it's important to see this because the contrast that comes after it is something special.
Money is pouring into Canada like we have not seen. From everywhere. Stocks and bonds are the obvious beneficiaries. The inflation rate in Canada, unlike the Eurozone or America, is actually trending lower.
So while Canada is pulling in record investment under an Oxford and Harvard economist who literally ran the central banks for two G7 nations, how is the U.S. administration explaining their own economic numbers? Watch top White House economic advisor Kevin Hassett trying to explain on Fox Business why the U.S. just lost 50,000 government jobs.
We're seeing.
Well, 50,000 fewer government jobs. Did the Doge savings have anything to do with that?
There was some of that, but it was also one of these weird seasonal things where, because there was a lot of snow in the winter, a lot of schools had to stay open longer to make up for the snow days. And so the teachers got laid off in July instead of the end of June. It's one of those weird things.
How about AI? Does
Yes, that is the same guy last week that was saying that data centers were the best thing that could ever happen to your neighborhood, okay? Now, according to him, the White House's top economic brain, the U.S. economy didn't lose 50,000 jobs because of bad policy or tariff chaos. It lost it because of snow in July. I mean, he's literally blaming teachers getting laid off on winter weather in the middle of summer. Donald Trump's team of geniuses are standing in front of Fox News cameras using elementary school snow days to explain job losses. No wonder Trump is out there calling Canada nasty. He's embarrassed. I make this independent show on my own. If you love what I do, consider leaving me a tip, become a member for extras, hit up my referral links, and stream my stand-up on Spotify.
So I know Pastor Tice spoke about Officer Abdel Nabi a few moments ago. No, we're not booing. We're not booing him. He's the officer that passed away here recently. So, and I asked if we had a moment of silence, and he said we had not. So, I would like your indulgence for a moment of silence for Officer Austin. Thank you.
He hadn't even finished saying the dead officer's name. The second that they heard Abdul, the entire room reflexively started booing like a knee-jerk reaction at a wrestling match. He had to stop the entire rally and explain to his own supporters, no, we're not booing him. He's a dead officer. He's a dead cop, okay? This wasn't some political opponent or foreign bureaucrat. It was Officer Austin Abdel Nabi, a 30-year-old decorated U.S. Marine veteran and Las Vegas police officer who was literally ambushed and killed in the line of duty earlier this week. Think about that level of brain rot. These people scream back the blue and support our veterans 24/7, but they're so conditioned by rage bait politics that the second a multi-syllable foreign-sounding name hits their ears, their brains completely bypass logic and fire off a boo. You claim to back the blue, but your default setting is to heckle a fallen cop because his name isn't Brad. Who are we hating now, right? These are people that are against cancel culture. They're trying to boo this guy right away. They don't know anything. They just hear a name and they're booing. It's ridiculous.
And this is true all over the country. There's a lot of good food in grocery stores that goes away. Most of the cheap cuts of meat are very inexpensive. If you buy a porterhouse steak or a strip steak, it is gonna set you back. You can buy liver or the cheaper cuts of steak that are very, very affordable.
First off, I love that they had to fix his microphone there, but even when you fix the microphone, it still sounds like that. You can't fix that. It's all kinds of wrong. Look, I love cooking. I've got Kamado Joe's, gas grills, an Instant Pot. I get that you can do incredible things with budget cuts like chuck flank, beef cheeks, drumsticks, whatever, because I do it. But there's no magic recipe on earth that makes a pan of beef liver taste like anything other than punishment unless you've completely lost your taste buds. And let's talk about the absolute disconnect here. You think Donald Trump is sitting on Air Force One ordering a plate of liver and onions alongside his McDonald's? Absolutely not. He's eating prime steaks while his cabinet secretary tells working class families to eat like medieval peasants. Plus, RFK clearly hasn't stepped foot in a real grocery store in decades because thanks to TikTok food trends, even cheap cuts and organ meats have jacked up in price. And good luck feeding a family of 6 on liver. You walk into a standard supermarket and there are maybe 2 tiny packages of organ meat buried at the bottom corner of the display case. To get enough liver to feed a family, you'd have to hit a couple different grocery stores and force your kids to chew through iron-flavored shoes all week. He's a Kennedy, a multimillionaire telling people who can't afford steak to just choke down cow organs and be grateful. Is TDS an actual genetic virus? Because TDS really seems like rabies. First off, this is coming from the crowd that wants to lock up Dr. Fauci for medical fraud, so I'm not surprised you think rabies is a genetic virus. Rabies, also spelled with one B, and it's an infectious disease spread by animal bites, which makes sense because you'd think you'd have to get bitten by a rabid raccoon to think the deranged crowd is the one refusing to buy $400 spray-painted sneakers, fake gold watches, and Bibles from a spray-tanned clown who calls reporters pigs. MAGA tears. Why you making jokes? 'Cause Kennedy picked up snakes. I think that was cool. I'm not sure how cool he felt while those wild snakes were repeatedly biting his hands on Dr. Oz's patio, but I get it. You get off on watching Kennedy fondle phallic objects. Did you wish that was your snake he was barehanding? Do you rewatch that video at night, closing your eyes, dreaming of RFK Jr. handling your reptile? MAGA tears. Every camera screaming about left-wing Vangles. Vangles. Where'd that come from? But here's how Prime Minister Mark Carney... I got the summer sillies going on.
The Tommy Campbell Show is the best political comedy show on YouTube. And I hope you subscribe.